funnily enough, like usually when you have new players, you want to teach them how to like hit the ball with power, because a lot of new players, they just flip at really bad times. Like they flip here, and they just, you know, they don't know how to like hit the ball properly. But these guys were actually like, you know, flipping into the ball late and getting like not insanely powerful touches, but you know, stuff like this I wouldn't have been too surprised to see in that game. Wall plays were definitely a start, causing issues every time the ball rolled up on a wall. We saw a lot of this kind of position being done wrong, but like honestly, when did you guys first have the confidence to drive up a wall in Rocket League? I remember when I was playing Rocket League way back in the day in Bronze League, because I did not play SARP, so I was absolutely the bronzest player the world has ever seen. If the ball went up the wall, the entire lobby would just be like, okay, let's wait. Like honestly, if the ball would do this in a lobby of 3v3, like just go up the wall, something like that, the entire lobby would be like, okay, I'm waiting, and now we can play the game again. Like everybody would just wait. Nobody would go up the wall. Then occasionally you'd go into a game and one of the crazies on the other team would be like, yeah, no big deal, and they would just go up and hit the ball, and you're like, what the sorcery is this? How is that even possible to drive up the wall and understand where you are? Like back in my day, nobody drove on the walls in low ranks. People would just like let the ball go up there and then wait. They'd be like, including me. So the fact that these guys are even attempting to use the wall is more than enough right now. Like just keep on giving it a go. One of the most important things about like trying to learn how to use the wall in Rocket League, at least for very, very new players, is like understanding how to just drive up and hit the ball without jumping off a wall. Because jumping off the wall is like, that's more advanced. I would save that, you know, for after you have got good at just like hitting the ball off the wall. Or else, yeah, you're gonna do stuff like this. I'm trying to consistently make the ball bounce off the wall. I don't know how to do it though. Isn't it with backspin? How do you make it like make a gap between the ball and the wall consistently? Anybody know? I believe it's backspin. It's hard to hit the ball with backspin though without it bouncing up in the air. So as forward spin, I'll hug the wall like that. Hey, listen. Those guys were insanely impressive for their first Rocket League games. Insanely impressive. This needs to be bouncing. Yeah, sometimes if it's spinning the wrong way, it will kick off the wall like this as well. I guess that was somewhat bouncy. But yeah, it's weird. Like I was saying, usually when I see a brand new player, like the first thing you want to teach them is just how to hit the ball, just like how to hit the ball with their flip, not to like flip too early or too late, or you know, try to do things like this. Because a lot of people will try to flip like to time that to hit it with a roof like this, and it just doesn't go very fast. So you need to like tell people to hit it with the front of their car so it goes faster. But these guys already knew that, so I'm like, what would you tell them? What do you guys think, Twitch chat? What were the best tips for our 2 stars of the show there? Not that they're going to need our help. Give them another 3 games, they're going to be a grand champ. What's the best position to be in when the ball is rolling towards your net on the wall? So you mean when the ball is doing this thing that it tends to do sometimes? When the ball's doing that, where do you want to be? How to train mechanics to get out of diamond? Just play the game. the best training is just playing the game. But if you want to do free play to train mechanics, one of the best things you could do is just learn how to hit the ball really hard. So off a bounce or any kind of rolling ball, you want to be able to generate power. It's one of the most important things that you're gonna do. So just like any volley, like this is a volley because the ball wasn't coming up off a bounce, it was falling down. You see here, this ball is actually on its way back down when I hit it, and I'm still able to generate power. Like maybe that's something you need to work on. Half volley, a lot easier to generate power with. That's where you're hitting it on the bounce. Actually hit the ball though. Hold on, I need to put this in full screen because I actually can't play with frame drops. It is killing me. Yeah, try to learn how to actually hit the ball hard every time you touch it. I'm actually loving this DX11, by the way. This is so clean in full screen. It's insane. It feels like I'm not even streaming. This is like so clean. But yeah, the other thing maybe that I would recommend for like Diamond, besides knowing how to hit the ball really hard, is focusing on your recoveries. Try not to be irrelevant in the game. This is kind of true for all the lower ranks. Try not to do things that will take you away from having an impact on the play for an extended period of time. Really focus on your recoveries. Every time you go for a shot, every time you go for an aerial, every time you go for a tackle, think about, okay, and how am I going to get back into position after I do this? So as you're doing it, or before you do it, think about how can you get back into position after you do this. So if I'm making a challenge near the wall here, I want to think, okay, I'm going to challenge, but I'm also going to land on my wheels as I do it. I'm not going to go challenge near the wall and dodge into the wall and then take longer to recover. I'm not going to go like this and then bounce back into position. Okay, I'm going for this aerial, but after I make it, I want to land on my wheels and get straight back into position. You know, like anything like this. Okay, I'm gonna go for this boost seal, but right after, I'm gonna make sure to get straight back into position here because the ball's coming to our half. Like anything, focus on recoveries. That's probably the best thing you could do strategically in any game mode. Yeah, hit the ball hard, recover fast. Don't give the ball away. Probably is the third thing. If I had to give you 3 tips, 3 very general tips, that's what they would be right now for the diamond kind of ranks. Because obviously if the other team are backing off really far, long shots like this would not be a good idea. It might be better to control the ball and then just force a 50-50. The most underrated dribbling move in the game is the 50-50. And it's probably the most powerful dribbling move in the game when used well. Incredibly versatile, incredibly safe. How do you change what DX you're using? If you don't do anything, if you just launch Rocket League like normal, you will be on DX11. To change it, you have to go to your launch settings in Rocket League properties. But I wouldn't recommend it because I think the current default is really good. What's the most underrated and overrated mechanics? I think probably the most underrated mechanics. By the way, if I miss your question, guys, just write it again in like 2 or 3 minutes later. So I'm doing one at a time, obviously. Overrated mechanics, underrated mechanics. I called flip cancelling overrated the other day, but I don't think it's the most overrated. Passing isn't really a mechanic. Camera speed is breaking your eyes. It looks worse on stream than it does to me, because my game runs, or my monitor runs in higher FPS than my stream does. So you guys probably don't see it as cleanly as I do. Most overrated mechanic in the game. I mean, recoveries are underrated. No, I think recoveries are rated. I mean, who are we talking about? Are we talking about like the Rocket League community? Who overrated by who? If we're talking overrated by like the overall Rocket League community, I think, yeah, maybe flip cancelling is insanely overrated. But at like high level of play, it's not overrated like really at all. People know how good it is. Probably the most underrated mechanic at high level is the 50-50. Which, I mean, it's kind of mechanics. I think it is. It's kind of like in a gap between. Like, you can make an argument that it's a gap between mechanics and strategy. But I think, yeah, 50-50s are definitely underrated at the highest level. A lot of players just don't really care about working on it. They're like, boring. I want to outplay people, not 50-50. Yeah, maybe like by the general Rocket League community, flip cancelling is the most overrated thing. Because most of the time that people do it, it's completely unnecessary, doesn't do anything, and very often it's just making the recovery worse. Whereas in pro play, I think, or you know, high level players, a lot of the time they just do it for fun. They know it's doing nothing, but they just do it for fun anyway because it looks cool. So you know, they're just doing it because it's like they're messing around, right? But a lot of players see that and then they think, wow, that looks cool, I'm going to do that, that must be really good, look at how powerful that shot was, wow, when I start learning how to flip cancel, my shot's going to be that powerful. They don't realize it's nothing to do with the flip cancel, it's just the timing, the speed, and the angle of the hit. Like, I feel like some players are like known for being good at 50-50s, but I always feel like it's a backhanded compliment to call somebody good at 50-50s in pro play. Well, not always. Sometimes it's just a straight up compliment, but sometimes there's been other times in the past where in an interview a player will say about their opponent, yeah, man, they're just so good at 50-50s, it's insane, I don't know how to win a 50-50 against them. And I'm thinking, you're saying that he got luckier than you, aren't you? That you're just saying in a roundabout way that guy was luckier than you because he won more 50-50s, and that you beat him even though he was better at winning a luck-based element of the game. There's only been a few times that I've thought this when I hear somebody like complimenting the 50-50s of their opponent. Man, they're just so good at kickoffs. I feel like, yeah, if he didn't get so many kickoff goals, I would have won. Not realizing that, you know, kickoffs are 100% skill-based as well. 50-50s are 100% skill-based. It's annoying when, you know, a team gets all their goals off 50-50s. But, you know, there's a difference between complaining about it in a ranked game and complaining about it in competition. I don't know who the top 3 players are at 50-50s though, Thatcher. Connor NS, thanks for the Prime sub, by the way. I don't think I said thanks to that for that yet, but I appreciate it, man. What's the best way to spend time in Rocket League when trying to rank up and improve? Tried playing a bunch. I've not really done much. Well, what are you trying to actively improve any aspects of your game? Because if you're just playing Rocket League and you're not really like identifying what weaknesses you have and trying to work on them, then you're probably not going to see much improvement. I mean, a lot of people will look at their rank as their sole determining factor of whether they have improved or not. Oh, my rank went up, I must have improved. My rank went down, I must have got worse. Whereas actually, like for me, I can lose rank but still think, yeah, I got better at, you know, whatever, you know, type of flick it was I was practicing that day. Or, wow, yeah, I think I did a really good job today of nailing those defensive overhead reads off the backboard. And maybe I'm like just trying to get better at some specific thing like this, and that's a much more quantifiable thing to improve on, because you can see, okay, I'm not very, what if you're not very good at like shooting from the corner? You think, okay, I need to get better at this, shooting from the corner. I say this because this is something that I actually used to be really bad at. I was like, okay, I can't, for some reason, you put me in this position and I can't score. Like if I'm in the middle, no problem, I can shoot from here, no big deal. But for some reason when I was in the corner, not the same. I just couldn't get the height on my shots right. I would always hit the bar. So I just like went into free play and I took a bunch of shots by like bouncing the ball off a wall near the corner and then trying to hit the target. And I've noticed, I noticed like real improvement in my like corner shooting game, and like in particular like the height I was able to hit my shots at. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and get good at putting shots either like into the bar or in off the bar from here, because usually I would be like hitting them like way too high. And yeah, I noticed, yeah, I'm actually starting to score these in game now. These ones that I would usually just like miss by miles, I would usually just like put it over there. I'll be like, well, that was not what I was trying to do. So yeah, just try and identify weaknesses like that and try to get better at the stuff that you're bad at. For me, like I think I'm pretty good at taking shots when they come across like this. This is something I've always been a lot better at. When the ball's coming at me sideways. But when the ball's like bouncing off an angled wall, I was less good at it. So you just have to practice it. Try and get better at reading that. I'm still pretty, I would say, bad at this compared to other shot types. It's hard for me to set it up. It's hard for me to know where the ball is going to bounce before it bounces. But you got to be quick into these positions. You can't waste time with the corner shots, because really they're only viable because the opponent is going for the boost instead of the ball. Like you hit it over his head, he goes for the boost instead of the ball, and then you just shoot immediately. Like that's usually the play. You don't have time to wait. You just have to go as fast as possible. Yeah, this would have been tackled 100%. Bounce wasn't very good. Man, yeah, that's actually what I used to do. I'm remembering now. I used to always get way too close to the wall in the approach. This is the thing I worked on ages ago. I would get way too close and then I would be like, here. This was literally my mistake every time. I would get way too close to the wall and then I would not know how to put the shot in. And then I realized, like, actually, on the approach, it's better if I stay away from the wall. That one didn't even bounce off the diagonal. Better stay away from the wall and just like know that the ball is coming here. It is going to make it. So it really didn't look like it was to me initially. I wasn't very good at reading this bounce. I'm like, is it really coming all the way back here? But it always is. But yeah, just that would be my best advice. If you feel like your rank is stagnating, just try and like get better at individual things in the game. Try and get good at something that you don't think you're very good at. And don't settle for, satisfactory. Try and get good enough, like, that you can do things at pace. If you're good at doing something slowly, do it faster. Do it a bit faster. Push the limits, Try and, like, constantly play out your comfort zone. Being ball cam makes it harder to read sometimes. I totally disagree. I think if you turn ball cam off for this, it's going to be like 10 times harder to read. This is going to be way harder. Why would no way would turning off ball cam be a good idea here? I mean, I can score, but it took so long to take that shot. The ball, when I shot that ball, it was basically like here. Like it's right in front of the goal. I'm trying to like attack these corner bounces, get in there. I'm trying to like basically strike the ball as soon as I can to get better at it. So basically right on the bounce. It's when I want to hit it, not like way after. So it's like a balance between picking my spot and going faster, you know? You want to go faster, but also, or you want to get better at reading the bounce, but also get better at hitting the shot at the same time. So you got to do both. Like that was just a bad read. I just got in the wrong position. Good double touch training pack. It depends what kind of level you're at. I mean, if you're at a high level, then you'll probably want a pretty quick one. This one I just got too far away from the ball. Is that training pack the right one? Is that my double touch one that I learned how to double touch on? Man, I'm so bad at reading corner bounces. I can't just read them naturally. It doesn't come to me at all. Just doesn't come to me. I have to wait and see what the bounce is, and then I can go. I can't like get in position before like this. I always get too close. Is it bigger command? Oh, thank you. Yeah, I definitely obviously need a lot of work. I mean, reading corner bounces, because I just don't know what the bounce is going to look like until it happens. But in terms of actually hitting shots from corners, or the bounce in this kind of position, that is something I can say I got a lot better at, because I was like taking my time, trying to actually hit top shelf shots from this spot. Now my next step would be to just go faster. Just shoot the ball before it bounces up. Hit it right on the bounce. So right as this bounces into the ground, that's when I should be shooting, right here. If I'm playing as fast as I can. Maybe you could probably even get there faster, you know what I mean? But you gotta take it in steps. Like first wait for the bounce, and then try and shoot it off the top of the bounce. Then when you mastered that, you can try to hit it on the bounce itself much harder. Something I'm not very good at. Yeah, does that make sense to the guy asking like how to get through these barriers? That's the advice I would tell anybody, and it's, you know, a lot of people have told me it's been really helpful just to focus on certain things. Try and find a weakness in your game and get better at it. Holy Tears, thanks for the 21-month tier 1. Really appreciate it, man.